Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, continuing with mostly sunny conditions out there this morning with another fairly quiet and mild day ahead. Temperatures currently in the low 50s and seeing a light wind out of the southeast. As we get into the later afternoon and evening time frame, we will have a chance of a few showers and low end chance of maybe even a thunderstorm pushing through the area, and then that will move out as some much more seasonable conditions move into the area moving over the next couple of days. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, have a area of low pressure well off to the west that's going to be tracking off to the northeast. It's going to bring this warm boundary through the area later this afternoon and evening, and then quickly behind it this cool boundary will push through. That's going to bring the chance of a few showers pushing through the area, and then well behind that we'll see the pressure gradient tighten with some breezier conditions and more seasonable temperatures creeping their way into the local region. Looking at the upper level winds from this morning, seeing some easterly winds closer to the surface, becoming more southwesterly to westerly as we go up through the column. Seeing our peak wind of 56 knots at 25,000 feet, and the freezing level this morning was at 9,400 feet. Looking at our current visible satellite, we can see just a few high clouds streaming through the area. That will be the case as we move through much of the working hours today. We'll see some additional cloud cover building in as we get to the late afternoon and evening time frame, with that area of low pressure making a closer approach and some of those boundaries lifting through the area. If we look at the short-term high-resolution model for today to see how the shower activity plays out, we'll note that the latest model runs here have gone a bit more scattered with the activity this evening, as we'll see here. Dry through the day today, and then getting past the 1600 local time frame, we'll see some light radar reflectivity here in the model. So much different than what was being depicted earlier today. Other models still keeping a bit more in the way of reflectivity simulated through the area. So that chance of rain comes after the 1600 local time frame, and then we'll continue as we move mainly towards the 22 local time frame, and that's when this cool boundary will start to push through, but keeping a slight chance until about 1 a.m. of a few showers around the area. Again, could see a slight chance of thunderstorm with some of this activity, although some of the high-res models trending with those weaker showers pushing through and more widely scattered. So keep an eye on that as we move into the evening time. But things dry out as we push past the overnight time frame and setting up for a breezy, dry weather day for Wednesday. We'll zoom out here and look at the longer-term forecast starting Wednesday morning. As you can see, tight pressure gradient over the area, bringing some breezy to windy conditions for our Wednesday, potentially seeing those wind gusts quite high, maybe up to 40 miles per hour for Wednesday. We'll stay breezy overnight Wednesday into Thursday as well, and then that pressure gradient will finally start to relax as we get into the day on Friday. We'll have a upper level disturbance tracking through the flow into the region as we go into the later part of Friday. We'll see here that we'll have a chance to bring in a few light showers, maybe a few flurries across the area late Friday into early Saturday morning, but nothing too impactful looking at this time. And then we'll see once again breezy conditions and much colder conditions return as we move into the weekend, well below average temperatures, along with those winds, keeping those wind chill values quite low, and very chilly conditions and cold conditions into the evening time frame. Moving into the end of the weekend, we start to get very low confidence in the longer-term forecast here, as we'll start to see all models indicating some disturbance coming together and moving into the region. I wouldn't pay much attention to the precipitation depiction here, as there's not much confidence in this at this time. The European model here is actually the most bullish with this system coming in, and the fastest with the system coming in early on Monday. As you can see here, it's indicating some light snow chances possible ahead of the system, but it does look like we'll be fairly warm that day, so most likely seeing rain, but at this time not much confidence in the forecast, as there's quite a spread between the models. GFS has quite a weaker system and more of the rain variety here, so we'll have some disturbed weather moving into the area for Monday, but how that plays out, we'll be tracking as we move through the remainder of the week, get better confidence with what plays out for that time frame. But for now, we'll take a look at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, looking at mainly green conditions as we move through our working hours today. We'll see a mild day ahead with a high around 57 degrees. We'll see a breeze start to pick up this afternoon out of the southeast, reaching about 10 to 15 knots, gusting up to 23 knots for the later afternoon. So we do pick up a yellow risk for those winds that are above 25 knots until we see some of that shower activity potentially moving in. We'll see the gusts back off a bit. We'll briefly go to a green status for that, or a green forecast for that. And then we do pick up that chance for some shower activity moving through the area as we pass the 1600 local time frame. An orange risk for that precip threat till about, again, 22 local, and then dropping down to a yellow risk till about 1 a.m. in the morning. And we will have about a 20% chance of maybe even seeing a rumble of thunder with some of that activity as it moves through. So we do have that yellow risk for lightning from that 1600 local to 22 local time frame. And we'll keep a yellow risk for these reduced ceilings with any of that shower activity moving through the area. We'll see a fairly mild evening seasonable-wise, with our low expected around 44 degrees, so not terribly cool behind the front, but we'll see those winds picking up out of the west, 10 to 15 knots, gusting up to 24 knots. So we once again pick up an orange risk for winds that are above 25 knots. Then we'll see those winds becoming more elevated as we get into the start of the day. On Wednesday, we gust up to 27 knots. Overall, seeing partly cloudy skies, or mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies through the day today, with mainly just some high clouds around. And again, start to see some of those lower level clouds moving into the area with those boundaries pushing through this evening. Likely seeing our ceiling between 3,000 and 5,000 feet, maybe dropping a bit lower with any shower activity that pushes through the area. And then we'll see mostly cloudy conditions as we get into the early morning hours of Wednesday, and then gradual clearing trend as we move through the day on Wednesday. Tides running slightly above normal. Wednesday, again, mostly cloudy early and then decreasing clouds through the day, most likely seeing partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies late in the day. Main story will be those windy conditions. Could see gusts up to 40 miles per hour, so we do have that red risk for those winds above 25 knots. Likely seeing a wind advisory through the day on Wednesday. Still fairly mild, a couple degrees above average for Wednesday with a high of 52 degrees. And we'll continue to see breezy conditions as we move into Wednesday evening. Those peak gusts will back off a bit, but still staying above that wind advisory criteria. So looking at a red risk for that once again Wednesday evening. And seeing more seasonable low temperature around 31 degrees and mostly clear skies. And we'll see mostly sunny to partly cloudy conditions for Thursday, with some chilly conditions. Those high temperatures starting to get below average, with the breeze continuing, keeping an orange risk for those winds that are about 25 knots. So it's going to feel fairly chilly for our day on Thursday. If we look at the extended forecast here, Friday, we'll see another chilly day with highs in the low 40s. And overall, mostly cloudy conditions. Will start off in the upper 20s for our Friday. Do have about a 30% chance of seeing some light rain, maybe even a few flurries Friday evening as that upper level disturbance moves through, and then we'll be into some very cold conditions as we move into the weekend, well below average, seeing our lows in the 20s and our highs in the mid-30s, just above freezing into the mid-30s there. We'll see partly to mostly cloudy conditions for Saturday. We'll see breezy conditions Saturday, so making things feel even colder. And then some breezy conditions continue into Sunday with a bit more in the way of sun, but still feeling fairly cold to chilly for our Sunday. And then getting into next week, again, not a lot of confidence in how that system will come together on Monday, but it does look like we'll see some sort of precipitation, most likely in the way of rain at this time. Is the way things look. So looking at a 40% chance of seeing some rain activity in the area. And again, can't rule out some snow mixing in with that. Again, not a lot of confidence in that at this time, but we'll be tracking that as we move through the remainder of the week. Right now, the high temperature looks to be around 41 degrees for Monday, but again, that could change as we move through the week as we continue to track what unfolds with that system moving into the region. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again at 8:15 and 10 a.m. on Thursday. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day and Happy New Year.